guys, it's Holly here at Faces. Welcome back to the Face It podcast. Today I am joined again by Maxine from Cosmetic Couture. Maxine has been on the podcast previously. This is more of an exclusive Face It podcast episode, and we're going to be discussing regulation. So really what we are going to be talking about is regulation coming into play for client safety, or is it mainly money driven? So for those of you who have not seen the interview that Maxine did with David Sines from the JCCP, we will link it below. So please go and watch that. And this is very much just a follow-up from there to discuss some points, discuss a few other things as well around what has been announced and what was discussed within that interview. So Maxine, welcome, and thank you for joining me today.
Yeah, I really wanted to do this podcast with you because we've done one previous, and I'm trying to get my message across on as many platforms as possible. Everybody uses Faces. It's one of the most recognised companies for, you know, everything that you offer. So I thought by doing this that maybe I could raise some more awareness, because being point blank, decisions are going to be made about our industry, your businesses that you've worked very hard to do over the last decade, if you do not have a voice. If you watch Professor Sines in the interview with me, it's very clear to see which way we're going here in aesthetics. And there's a lot of treatments that are going to be restricted or that go into the red zone if you don't have a voice. But unfortunately, being in this industry for 14 years, I refer to the old school aesthetic practitioners and the new ones. So the old school practitioners have been in it for a very long time, and they are heavily campaigning and filling in the questionnaires and raising awareness. But the new aesthetic practitioners of today have no clue. Yeah. They don't know what the questionnaire is. They don't know how to answer it. They don't know what's going on in the industry because they're not educated enough by the level of training and the academies that are popping up everywhere today. Yeah. There is not one voice in the aesthetic industry. And from what I see, from me trying to bring awareness through my charity, and we'll speak about that later on, I get blocked from multiple support groups because I am the face of Cosmetic Couture. But my reasons is not for business. It's to protect my livelihood, the students that I've trained in every single one of you. So I think everyone needs to put their rivalries aside. It's not about training. It's not about competition. You've got 4 weeks to get your voice across. And if you don't, you're going to be restricted from practice.
Yeah, 100%. I think there are a lot of people within this industry, like you say, potentially the newer practitioners who are just sort of sitting back and hoping that, you know, someone's going to say on their behalf what they think and what they want. No. And you know, if you have not filled out that questionnaire, we will link it below. Do it. You've got 4 weeks. Your voices are going to be listened to. But like Maxine said, you know, from the interview with Professor Sines, it's not looking great, if I'm being honest. You know, just to sort of recap for anyone who hasn't seen it, treatments like dermal filler treatments, no matter what treatment that may be, because it potentially will require a prescription of hyaluronidase, that would then be in the red category. So that would basically mean any dermal filler treatment would fall under that category, and you'd be
all treatments would. So even fat dissolve, anything that requires lidocaine. Yeah. I mean, we already know that the red category treatments are being pushed towards CQC, breast filler, bum filler, cogs. And I quote, Professor Sines said that tear trough and rhinoplasty should be surgical. And my answer to that was, well, statistics. Let's look at statistics. So I'm going to take me as a, let's play devil's advocate. So I've had a company for 13 years. I've probably done and overseen maybe 30, 40,000 procedures as a large company that I am. So if I was to look at tear trough and rhinoplasty, if I was to refer to my charity and look at the charity and see how many adverse effects are implicated with tear trough and rhinoplasty, and not all of these are performed by practitioners at CC. These are students. What is the worst thing we come across? Has there been cases of blindness in the UK? I can't find any. And again, when it is reported, it's in like Asia, America, and it depends on which product's been used. And they're not usually HA. So where are the stats apart from Save Face, which no one listens to what they say? Let's have it right. They're made up. But let's look at the stats. So under eye filler, as practitioners, what do we come across? Edemas, swelling. Sometimes if somebody's used the wrong product, we all should be using the right products for density. There are so many products on the marketplace, and that's why we see adverse effects. But how dangerous is it? Rhinoplasty, how dangerous is it? We know the tip of the nose, for those who are newbies, it can cause a vascular compromise. And again, they do carry risk. But if you're trained correctly and you do have clinical supervision, but clinical supervision can mean let's say your prescriber that you work with, so whoever's designated for you, if you have an adverse effect, they're about 45 minutes away and you can help resolve the situation. Why should it change? And why should experienced practitioners who've carried out these procedures, is the potential that you could not be able to perform them? So that's a restriction.
Yeah, absolutely. So, this is your sign, if you haven't already, to get the questionnaire filled out. David Signs did mention that they are getting listened to. I know it might feel like you're filling something out and it's just going to get lost somewhere. And,
a lot of people are asking, can you send me the link? No, I won't send you the link. Go and look for it.
Not difficult.
You can't even get the link and fill it in. Do you want me to fill it in for you? It's like...
Yeah, it should be something that's done already. If you really care about your business, you care about continuing within this industry, you'll have done it already, 100%.
Exactly.
And I think everyone sort of, there's been talk of regulation for so many years. It's almost like, people think that, it's not going to happen anytime soon. You've literally got 4 weeks.
You know what, Holly? When I trained in aesthetics, it was 2009. And every year I used to hear, you're getting stopped next year. You're getting stopped. And every year it got to about 5 years in, and I thought, no, I'm not getting stopped. But then Health Education England come, and that was my first meeting with Professor Signs and lots of others who were involved. So for those of you who are new in aesthetics, this campaign has been going on since Health Education England was launched in 2013, and Professor Signs was drafted in on the qualification side and developing a framework. So a framework was developed, and in one of the Department of Health and Social Care videos, they make reference to Health Education England, which is quite a large document about the supervision matrix and how that supervision would look. And this is one of the issues where I said I'm sitting on the fence about this. And Professor Sign said, I agree. And I agree because the supervision could be in different tiers. So let's say a non-prescribing nurse. She's not a prescriber. So what tier of supervision would she have? Would she have had? If you were, let's say, a non-medic who'd done treatment 10 years, would you have a different band of supervision? If you was a new person, would they have to be in the room? And again, he says, I don't know. But I'm sorry, I feel that they do know, because everyone's been involved in this for a very long time. And the main focus has always been to stop non-medics.
Yeah, exactly. What are your thoughts then, Maxine? So with regards to the training that is currently out there, a medical professional can do a 1 or 2 day course, just like a non-medical professional can. With regards to the overseeing aspect, what are your thoughts on that? Because why does that mean a medical professional who's done the same qualification should be able to oversee somebody?
Stick up for them here. So probably some people won't like it. Now, I'm an advocate for non-medics, but over the last couple of years, I agree with certain training academies that offer a high standard of training, but it also makes my toes curl, what I see. So when we refer to a medic, and a lot of people will say, you don't know anything about the anatomy of the face. They've done 3 years at university, you know how to treat a patient, you know how to look at different factors when treating a patient, their mental health, ethnicity, all of those things that Professor Signs was saying, and I totally agree with that. Can that be taught in a 5-day fast track? So when somebody's arguing that, I've done 5 days and, I'm more of an expert on the face, they're still a registered healthcare professional. And I do recognise that they need longer training, because I've trained medics, and you can get a nurse or a doctor comes in and they're absolutely amazing. Or I could get a beauty therapist. I refer to beauty therapists because I find that they are better at injecting. So when I've had beauty therapists that do SPMU, they do electrolysis, they do lots of treatments, they're amazing. They know how to treat the skin. they've covered things in depth. And I think this is where the qualification thing comes in. There's been so much people on these stupid forums saying, don't train in level 4, 5, 7. It's not out yet. Of course it's coming. Of course there's bits missing from the qualification, but isn't it not going to be mapped to the National Occupational Standards? VTCT have been involved training beauty for many years. I still think they'll do a U-turn. They'll probably deliver level 7 to non-medics because there's so much money in this industry. Everyone's going to have to retrain. And VTCT, from the beginning of aesthetics, I was the first person to put forward to VTCT. I want to make a pathway into aesthetics for non-medics. It wants to be level 3 with needling experience, and then they go into aesthetics and it's all under one roof. And I started that in 2012. And 13 years on, look how the industry's changed. Insurances have allowed fast track qualifications. And unfortunately, as a business, I've had to follow these fast track qualifications, but try and make them to a high standard as I can in a competitive industry, because we're all in business as well at the same time. But the focus is on our students as well. What do you think of the industry now, Holly?
It's just a minefield, honestly. I think, predominantly because I'm not a practitioner myself, nor am I a medical professional, but I see both sides. Personally, I think it is unfair for someone who is a non-medical professional who, for example, has built up a business, they're ordering their products correctly, they're educating themselves, they are keeping their clients' safety at the forefront of what they do. It is unfair for them to have these treatments stripped away from them. But so then
the point that you raised there, Holly, just exactly that. If I was to caption what you've just said, that point needs to be put forward from a voice that is not from, let's say, a Professor Signs or somebody in that circle. A voice needs to be put forward. The government don't know. They just know, right, okay, non-medics, they've got no experience. They're injecting bums in kitchens and wherever, and they'll be. It's like, if you look at it in black and white, it sounds really bad. But if you if you're putting a voice forward that there are trained practitioners who've been doing treatments for many years, who contributed towards the economy, there are a lot of successful business women out there who do work with nurses and doctors, and they've created businesses, but you're going to be restricted from practice. That is evident to see.
Yes,
certain elements are going to get stopped unless we do something about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Just going back to the education side of things, Maxine. So I think there's a lot of people at the moment, like you pointed out, who are saying, no point doing your level 7 now. We don't know what's coming into play. Obviously, David Signs said
qualification.
Yeah.
Be off
So would you say that anyone who's thinking about it should just go do it now?
With what Professor Signs was saying about 2026, you'll have 2 years to do it. I don't think that's enough time to do it. I don't think that's enough time frame, because if you're doing level 4, 5 and 7, it takes you up to 3 years anyway. There are people wanting to train in it, and for good reasons, because you're training an off-qual qualification. It'll never be taken away. And okay, let's just say there is some parts missing and they do need to add bits to it to match the framework. It's no big deal, is it? The industry's changing. There's nothing you can do about it. They've got their way. It's got into government. It's going to Parliament, and a law will be passed unless you have your say. So you've got 4 weeks to fill in the questionnaire. Go and Google it. Fill in the questionnaire and have your say. But also, if there are things that come about at the end of this review, so in I think it's January, February, we've got the call for evidence for education and training. If we didn't like the outcome, what can we do? So what can us as aesthetic practitioners do to try and change things? So I've got an idea on that, but I need the support of everyone in the aesthetic industry.
Yeah, please tell us. Yeah, go ahead, Maxine.
Okay. So I don't know if anybody's aware, but I've run a charity. I'm a trustee of the ACPB, which was formed 7 years ago for non-medics. And not many people join it, I'll be really honest. A lot of training academies don't join it because it's another company, it's a rivalry company, but it's not, it's a charity. I put it there. Number one was to create an inspectorate, which I did, which was for premises licenses, didn't get any interest. Clinical oversight, we've always had it, a helpline for non-medics. The public can send in pictures for support and advice, and we can direct them into the right place. And our aims and objectives was to look after non-medics in the industry. And I think now is the time for the charity to help you as practitioners, because I've been doing a lot of research into what my charity can do to help. And I sent you some stuff over. And basically, one of the key things we can do about campaigning is to change in the law of policies and decisions. And there's guidance on this, which I'm consulting at the moment. It's basically a campaign of political activity for a charity, because, and you can be quite controversial in your campaign, because I don't feel that non-medics are having a fair voice. I don't feel that their point is being put across. I feel they're going to be restricted from practice. I think a lot of businesses are going to go bankrupt and close because of the decisions that are made. So therefore, I need everybody to join my charity, fill in the job form, which we've created, which asks about you, how long you've been trading, what would happen if the law is changed and it restricts you. So that's my one last ditch attempt to try and do something. I've been campaigning for 14 years, but if we don't get voices, if we don't get everybody in the aesthetic industry as a non-medic to contribute, then your businesses are going to be affected with the changes.
Yeah. So guys, you know, this again is so important, because Maxine and the charity that she runs can make a difference in itself. You know, you can push back on what comes out. So we will send out some information and put information below regarding that. Just moving on to the sort of financial side of things, Maxine. So there is a lot of talk within the industry around regulation not being all about client safety at all. It's very much a money-making scheme, and potentially corrupt. An example of this, which I've come across, is the JCCP annual report. My concern is that there are a number of large companies within the aesthetics field who have actually put money into the JCCP.
Are they, Holly?
What was that? Sorry.
Who are they?
I can listen. I've got the report here.
Read them out then.
I will do. Just one that I wanted to point out is, well, the JCCP is a charity as well, for anyone who doesn't know that. So there are companies who are essentially donating money to the JCCP.
It's not government funded, it's self-funded.
Yes, exactly. So, for example, Church Pharmacy, for example, donated £7,000 to the JCCP last year. On the back of this, they are actually being promoted by the JCCP as a pharmacy who undertake safe digital prescriptions.
They also sell products to non-medics too. They were one of the first companies to do that. Church did, yeah.
I thought they were medic-only pharmacy.
Well, unless they've changed, but Church Pharmacy, that was the first ever company that I used. And when I used to do Botox at the beginning, it was remote prescriptions. It wasn't face-to-face until it changed in 2010. But Church did used to supply to lots of non-medics.
That's interesting. So, for example, Church Pharmacy have donated £7,000 to the JCCP. Bit of a coincidence, the fact that the JCCP are then promoting them as a safe pharmacy to purchase from. I'll list some other companies that are in the report, and this is available online for anyone who wants to.
It's public information. It's transparent.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Just that Holly's telling everybody.
We've got Tioxane, £7,500. We've got Mertz, £10,000. Church, £7,000. Transform, that says 5 million, but I don't know if it's meant to say 5,000. Harley Academy, 2,500. Allergan, 10,000. Galderma, 10,000. Clinicept, 2,000. You know, Hamilton Fraser, £6,000.
Know about that one.
And then Skin, 20,000. So, you know, in terms of that, the JCCP are promoting these companies. That's not necessarily because they are companies you should be using or companies that are safe to be using. Obviously, a lot of those companies are names that we know within the industry, but
they don't support non-medics. Not one of them companies at all.
Yeah. And it's advertising, isn't it? You know, they're using the JCCP and the platform to advertise their own businesses. that is not for public safety. That's for money, you know? So I think it's really important to actually highlight this, that, you know, is it for client safety and safeguarding, or is it corrupt, you know, and it's just for money? Because I think a lot of people do think that.
It's a very debatable subject, and now more than ever. And you see so many comments, you know, like when I do lives nearly every day now, because this is something that I've always been passionate about. But I agree with some of the changes. They do need to change. And I definitely agree with qualification and regulations. And it's new to everybody. Look, everybody's panicking. It's money, it's further training. But regardless, it's going to come anyway. You know, it's either that or everyone now is rushing to say, I'm going to become a nurse. So you're going to have like an influx of people getting grants and going to do nursing to go into aesthetics. And that was mentioned to Professor Sines, and it was just one of those, you know.
Yeah. With regards to that then, so obviously they're saying about clinical oversight, and, you know, medical professionals, you know, having to do that as well. Do you think that, you know, there will be people who are currently in the NHS who will then say, oh, right, you know, this is a good opportunity for me to make some money because of the clinical oversight aspect? Do you think a lot of people will leave the...
Well, it's lucrative, and a lot of people do it now. Years ago, you'd be very surprised. There's hardly any people that would prescribe. They were terrified to prescribe to a non-medic, and they would get like peer bullying, you know, like you're prescribing to a non-medic, whereas now it's just a normal thing. I think prices will go up. Prescribers will charge more. I think it'll become difficult for non-medics, apart from the ones that are established, who will be able to do the qualifications and, you know, like survive through it. But it is going to make it very difficult, and I do think it'll become a price war on prescribing. And basically it goes back to the medic side, that they're in control, and that debate has gone, you know, like the non-medic, the medic debate.
Yeah.
They won.
Yeah. From the conversation you had with David Sines, I got the impression that, you know, a lot of these things have actually already been decided. It's just not been announced yet. What are your thoughts on that? And do you think this is maybe a sign that the system is rigged and flawed, and the government is corrupt, that is they're not showing necessarily a fair assessment? What do you think on that?
I just think that it's been going on for so long, and there are lots of conversations behind the, you know, closed doors, and people higher in a hierarchy above us that have these conversations and what they want and what they've been fighting for many years. And it's finally coming into place now. So don't be fooled. I've usually, in this industry, because I've been in it so long, it's like I have a gut feeling with it. It's like I've just done it for so long. I know this industry, and I'm not completely sure about we'll be happy with the outcome. And I do think people do know that certain things are going to happen. And like I keep saying to everyone, you've got to have a voice. You've got to fill the questionnaire form, as many voices as possible to fill in. And even if, you know, the decisions that come out do affect us and we don't like them, then there is something that we can do as well. And that's why I'm saying to people, please join the charity that I'm a trustee of, because I'm future-proofing what may happen.
Yeah, 100%. With regards to the charity, Maxine, where can people join? Obviously, we'll provide the information
on the website, so you can go onto the website, you can have a look. It's £50 to join. Obviously, I've got a lot of work on my hands. What we're going to be doing over the next year, because it might seem like a way off, but it's not. And these decisions are going to affect every single one of us. I'm worried and concerned about it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, and everybody who hasn't filled out the questionnaire, go and do it now. We will add information in for Maxine's charity, so you can join that to, again, just have your voice. Even with regards to, you know, showing things on social media, I know it might seem quite like superficial, but it's a really important time to actually show your business, show your clients what you're capable of, you know, how you have built your business. And that's why I've been running these podcasts as well, because it's so important.
A lot of people do choose to use non-medics for treatments. And, you know, there is a section on there where your clients can fill them in, because they receive treatments off non-medics, not off just off nurses and doctors. and that's on there. You've got everybody between us has got lots of clients. Get them to fill it in as well.
Yeah, mums and dads, friends, family, you know, everyone. You don't just have to be within the industry. You know, I'm not a medical professional or a practitioner, and I filled it in. You know, it's so important. Do you think that, I know David Saunders has obviously confirmed when you spoke to him that, you know, people are being listened to. Do you really think that's the case?
Well, it depends who's reading those questionnaire forms, because apparently it's people who in the aesthetic world. So that you might look at it as black and white, you know, like ban non-medic, include non-medics. You know, it might be a tally of whatever. But I do think there's an influence as well on the way that the industry will go, because from a non-medic aesthetic eye, if you was to be put forward a case that a doctor or a surgeon or a nurse who's been to university, that has a pin and works in a CQC environment, performs treatments such as body fillers, all of these treatments, and they perform them, or we've got, let's say, Jenny, who's trained on 7 days on a CPD course and works at the back of a salon above the hairdressers, and they're going to go, what? You know, and this is the type of thing, you know. But then you've got Sarah, who runs a multi-million-pound business, works with doctors, nurses, or even if she doesn't work with them, but she's got a successful business. Her premises is immaculate. She's been paying taxes and contributing for many years. Then it might be, oh, okay.
Yeah, that's
that one. Stay face, BACNs. Come on, let's get all the GMC, the NMC, all against non-medics. Who are they going to listen to?
That's the thing. Exactly. It is this black and white, isn't it? It's medical professional, and so is doing, you know, using unlicensed toxins in the front room. And I think that's where that is the almost a stereotype that has been made around non-medics, which is so wrong, because there's so many people within this industry who, like you say, are educating themselves. They have built an amazing business. They're putting their client safety first. And these people who are reading these questionnaires and who are part of the JCCP, part of the government, they don't know this. They just see
it. And it's like even, you know, if someone was to come to cosmetic couture, it's like a hospital. I used to run a CQC medical centre. I used to have a pharmacy. But, you know, in business, you stick to what you're good at. And this is what my passion's at. But in my building, even in the hallway, there's a PPE wall, there's a defibrillator, there's oxygen. There's more than what there would be, even if a nurse was doing treatments in a salon. It's absolutely immaculate, and safety is our main concern. The hospital is 15 minutes away should we have an emergency. You know, everything is planned in here. But again, does this person who's looking at these forms know that Maxine, who does treatment tens of thousands per year and runs a multi-million-pound business, that she's working safely and, you know, giving a service and contributing, paying taxes yearly? You know, and I just don't think that's fair. And that's why I want to bring awareness to the charity. I want as many voices as possible. I'm going to start campaigning and using the charity, because that's what it was there for. And this could restrict practice. So this is where the charity will come into play, and I need support off everyone. So all the support groups that are creating, I'm not knocking you, but you're creating these groups and associations, you're not going to get anywhere. I'm just being dead straight. You're not. I've got a registered charity. Join it and let us go forward as one voice, just like medics do. The GMC is a body, the NMC is a body, the GDC. I'm not saying it's a body, I'm saying it's a charity. And we need to act, because there will be things that will definitely 100% restrict you from practice. And I can't say it loud enough to people.
100%. No, I really appreciate you really clarifying that and reiterating it, Maxine.
I can't sleep. I can't sleep. I'm like this every night.
Oh, honestly, guys.
Like a mad woman, right?
You know, don't just be talking about it on the groups. When's regulation coming in? You know, get the form filled in, sign up to Maxine's charity, and start talking about it. Raise awareness. Talk to your clients about it. Get your clients to fill it in.
Tell your clients. Do you know what? We mail it to clients. We've got a massive data of clients. Please fill it in, because you choose to have treatments here. You love the treatments, and you don't want us, obviously, to be prevented from doing certain treatments. Fill it in. But I'd love to know how many people have filled it in, and how many non-medics are out there. Because, you know, a lot of people who I must talk to probably, I would say, maybe about 15 students or prospective students a day. And when I speak to them, I always talk about the industry that, you know, if you're coming into it, it's going into regulation. Oh, is it? And I'm like, yes. And I give them a little bit of a background so they're aware that the industry that they're coming to is going to be regulated. They have no clue.
Yeah.
And even practitioners go, what questionnaire form? You know, and there's so much, you know, even the JCCP actually have got a great video from the Department of Health and Social Care. It's 17 minutes long. I shared it, and it breaks down everything. It simplifies it. So if you find it difficult to follow what's going on in the industry, it's like you know, like one of the diagram videos, and it tells you what category is this, and it's very easy to understand. But I also sense, especially from speaking to Professor Sines and a couple of other people that I've seen, is like I sense a bit of victory, I sense a bit of arrogance, and I sense a bit of, we're getting our way. That's what I see.
Yeah. So now's the time to make a change, not just for your own business, for your clients, but just like everyone has their rights, you know, and it currently
we do have rights. So if we were restricted from practice of a lot of the treatments that we do, or our businesses couldn't, you know, take on having a doctor or a nurse on site, I'm just saying that worst case scenario, that means a lot of businesses will close, and the country's a bit of a mess as it is anyway. Everybody's in financial difficulty. So to have this, you know, this could close a lot of businesses, and maybe that's what the end goal is. Maybe it is to close a lot of businesses. Maybe it is to make it that difficult for non-medics that a lot of them give up, because I do believe that probably 40% will.
Yeah, no, I agree. So Maxine, just touching on qualification again, because this is something that a lot of people are a little bit confused about. I think there's lots of people holding off further learning because they think, you know, I might not be able to do that treatment when it comes to CPD, or there's those who are unsure whether the level 7 is something that is actually going to be sort of considered. So in that sense, they're holding off as well. What advice would you give to anyone who's a little bit unsure on that at the moment?
I'd encourage anyone now to do regulated qualifications, because you're going to get an Ofqual recognised qualification. It's a lengthy qualification, and obviously it's up to level 7. There's a bit of a debate about the 7 against some of the level 7s that medics take, but it is a long course, and it shows that you are the best you can be. So in an industry now that isn't regulated but is soon to be regulated, there is no set standard of training. There's thousands of training academies, and come on, let's face it, the quality of training is probably at the worst it's ever been. We see complications on the rise, and, you know, regulated qualifications are the best there is out there for non-medics. Qualify have developed qualification, VTCT have developed qualification, but not up to level 7 as of yet. It's only for medics. So let's just say that if the qualification doesn't fully meet the standards, then that means that there is probably additional things that would be added on. But at least a lot of those practitioners who have started the qualifications are way above, you know, they've started it. And anybody coming into the industry as well, you can still go and train in aesthetics on a CPD course, because you need experience to be able to go on to do level 7 when you get to it. You've got to have experience in microneedling, peels, etc. So CPD is a great learning tool, but it's continuing professional development, and I think it'll work well alongside regulated qualifications in the future. But what I would say to everybody, and to anybody who's got a training academy, put your students on level 3 qualifications or anything that's going to allow them to go on to these qualifications, because someone made a valid point about training. Why are training academies training us in qualifications that won't allow us to progress on to regulate qualifications? I'm going to sue them. So this is a thing now, because as we're all aware that academies are offering fast tracks, you know that the law's changing, you know that regulations are coming, and in January, February, we're going to be discussing and contributing towards the framework. So you need to future-proof your business. So if you are an aesthetic training provider, I would be planning for the future. become a centre, whether that be DTCT, whether it be off-qual, plan for your learners and future-proof you and them, because they've already trained in aesthetics, but they are going to have to do further learning. We know that.
Yeah, exactly. And, David Sines even said, CPD is still going to be around. It's really important to keep up with industry trends, keep up with new techniques and everything. But the clue is in the name. It's continued professional development. So people are starting off with CPD courses, but what are they continuing?
You know what, Holly? I was the first company to get CPD. 2015, I used CPD standards because I thought, what can I do to raise standards for non-medics? And I thought, well, my lesson plans, my teaching materials would be assessed. And I thought, this is great for non-medics. So it was 2015 when I first did that. And I thought, well, there's nothing else out there for non-medics and we need to raise standards. But now it's evolved 10 years later, and Qualify have developed this amazing qualification for non-medics. Why would you not want to train in it? You can't all say you've had amazing training and that in a couple of weeks of training you've learned everything. You're going to do like a 2 to 3 year course around your job, around work, and you're going to get an off-call regulated qualification. And then, you can proudly display that you're level 7.
Yeah, exactly. Why wouldn't you want to do that? And this is regulation aside, whether regulation require it, which it will at some stage, for your own personal development and business.
The government say adequately trained practitioners. So what do we define as adequately? Is it, fast track course? Is it a CPD? No, it's not. It's regulated qualifications. And there may be other awarding bodies that come along and think, you know what? We've got a lot of practitioners. I mean, how many practitioners are going to need to be trained? How many EQAs are we going to need for assessment?
Thousands, hundreds, absolutely. Yeah, it's going to go crazy. So if anyone's thinking about doing further training or doing your level 3, 4, 5, 7, whatever.
Quite a lot of centres, all up and down the UK. There are a lot of people who are offering Qualify now. And some centres have signed up to be them, but they've not quite reached the requirements yet because it's not easy.
No, it takes about 6 months to become a centre, doesn't it?
And you've got to meet the requirements and then you've got to deliver up to a 3-year course. That's a long commitment to students. And it is a brand new qualification and it's not easy, for us centres that are delivering them. And I think with time, it will get better. The deliverance will get better as well. And I just think that more people will do it. But I struggle to think how everyone's going to deal with it because I don't think that there is enough tutors, EQAs, and everything that's needed for the assessment process. And I think that's something everyone's going to have to look at. Yeah,
but I think also that the commitment side from practitioners as well. I think there's, like you said, a lot of people are going to drop off. They'll just be like, do you know what? Can't be bothered.
Or do it underground.
Yeah, 100%, which is, another thing, isn't it?
What about somebody who's never had any academic background, gone into this, created a business, and will really struggle? Getting to level 7 and
it's master's level. It's like a degree. It's intense. But I think, like you say, if you're thinking about furthering your learning, getting these qualifications on, or if you're in academy, look into it. Think about the future. Think about the current students that you're training.
I do speak to a lot of academies who ask for advice about, they've been training non-medics and they're saying, like, can you steer me in the right direction because I want to do it right. I want to offer this for my students, but I'm really struggling. I'm really struggling with the policies and procedures. I'm really struggling with the teachers and, so many different things. But support and advice is what's needed to be able to become a centre because it's not easy. And then you've got to deliver the qualification to lots of students. And it's not like the fast track qualifications where you weren't answerable to anyone. Now you are. It's off qual.
Yeah.
So you are answerable to deliver, and these got to be delivered in the correct way.
Yeah. Amazing. I'm excited.
All right, Holly.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a
Take
good
care.
day.